Good morning, good morning, good morning. You're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul B. He's Buddy to God.
Hey.
Welcome to a fresh edition on this Wednesday. Wait,
Yes, Wednesday.
Wednesday,
Hump
March
day.
March the 25th, 2026. Coming up on April. Man, a few days already towards the end of the month, but here we are, and we're going to talk about a few things. So stay tuned. We're firing it up now. First Sky Omaha. In the morning. Money. Hey, it's a Wednesday. Welcome back. Woo, man, a little bit more tired than I was Monday, but
Yeah.
feeling good. I'm glad we're back, and we appreciate you guys getting up early with us. How you doing this morning, buddy?
Man, start the show kind of crept up on me, but here we are.
It did. But again, we appreciate you guys. We were just talking about this morning. We started at 8 o'clock on Monday, and that little extra hour did help. So we're gonna definitely put that survey out this week about whether or not we ought to push this back from 7 to 8, because it does feel early. It does feel early, but it is what it is. We're up here to get it going, get the conversation popping, and talk about what we got going on this week. As you saw when we were first coming in, we're going to be anticipating our special guest. It's about time we caught up with Miss Kimara Snipes. It's going down. So we lots to talk about here. Of course, she's from One Omaha, and then also she is on the school board, and a lot more things going on in the community that she's involved with as well. And is always a friend of First Sky, and pretty much like our number one researcher when it comes to what's going on in the man. She's powerhouse, loving, intelligent person. So she will be on the show, and we'll be able to share in her thoughts and find out what's going on with her, catch up with you. Let us know what's going on with you in the chat. You can always hit us up on Friends of First Sky as well. That's our group page over at Facebook. We'll be talking about Facebook and what the changes that might have to be made because of that, because we're always on this tip. So we're happy that you're here now, and hopefully one day if we have to move this situation, you will come right along with us. I'm priming you now because I know it's going to happen. So we'll say it a few times before it does. But we got to address what's going on here with our communication, because that's what this is all about. But before we get into all that, man, just wanted to say hello and good morning, and thank you guys for joining us this morning. I'm seeing RG getting up early, saying morning, y'all. He says moon walking on the treadmill. Okay. RG be getting it in, man. You encouraging me.
Getting your Thor on.
Get your Thor on. I should have kept that photo. RG. Thor hammer.
Man.
Marlon Harrison gives us a good morning, First Sky family, and happy Wellness Wednesday.
Yes.
Been on that tip, bro. Been on the Wellness Wednesday, man. I don't know if you guys were able to see Brother Sherman Wells' sermon with Sherman last night, but he talked about that. He turned 50 recently, and he talked a lot about his health and what he's been doing for his health. Lost a little weight himself, and he's like putting the challenge out there for all of us. Hey, let's get it together. Health is wealth. If you walking around not feeling good, why are you faking it? Why are you faking like everything's okay when you don't feel good and you don't have any energy? Like, why would you walk around faking that? And I really like his points there. We'll be talking about his sermon and all the things that he talked about yesterday as well. And I can't wait to chime in with you guys on that. If you guys were able to see that, I saw a lot of chat chimers in there with the Brother Sherman last night. So that's what's up. Squad indeed. Michelle Moreno gives us a good morning, everyone. Good morning to you. Heather Williams gives us a good morning, everyone. Thank you. Judy Prinzler says, wonderful Wednesday.
Okay.
What's up? Temperature's supposed to be pretty fair and decent out here, pretty moderate. So looking forward to that. I'm glad it's not too cold. I'm glad it's not getting too hot quite yet. This is that in-between space where you fall back in love with Omaha because of the weather and the trees and the flowers coming back and the birds and the green and everything else.
Man.
So there it is, man. We'll be getting into it. But it's like I said, I just really appreciate everybody who is getting up early with us this morning. We're going till 9 o'clock again today, as per usual. Might as well jump into a little bit of community updates if y'all don't mind, and get some of those out of the way. We talked about the sermon with Sherman that happened last night. Again, we're going to be talking about some of the things that he was talking about on his show. We'll definitely go through it. So if you had any points that you thought stood out, if you got a chance to check it out, can't wait to talk to you about it. Let us know for sure. We're going to be revisiting the Year of the Neighbor situation again. Now that we're going to have Miss Neighborhood herself on the show, Kimara Snipes is coming through, and then see how in correlation we are with the mayor's Year of the Neighbor. We'll be talking about that, and I would love to hear from anybody that's been partnering with him on any of these things too. I know that some organizations have partnered with him on this Year of the Neighbor. If you're one of them, love to hear from you on that for sure. Some things coming up this weekend. Of course, we got Benson First Friday that's happening. We get ready for that. BFF Artist Market is going down at the Benson Theater. As a matter of fact, First Friday, April 3rd from 6 to 9. You can show up there and get down on the BFF Artist Market that's happening over there. And then, of course, take a little stroll up and down the block and check out some art and support some artists. All that good stuff. More information on that, go to bff.org and check out what's going on the block for that. It's coming up. Also, shout out to Empowerment Network that's doing Easter in the Village at 24th and Lake. This is coming up Saturday, March 28th. So this is coming up this weekend as well. There's going to be candy, egg hunt, live music, museum, shopping, church activities, food, snacks, giveaways, games,
Okay.
photos, scavenger hunts, all kinds of stuff. So I'm sure
You name
you name it, everything. You got
it.
everything. So I'm sure that if you, especially bring the kids out for this, there's going to be a lot of activities and stuff for the kids, for the families. You know, everything they do is very family oriented. So shout out to Empowerment Network for putting on their events. Easter in the Village is happening again on the Deuce, 24th and Lake. So shout out if you're any one of these partners at the bottom here. We're seeing all this support
Man.
underneath the I'm like somebody been making some calls to some sponsors for real. So shout out to everybody that's sponsoring this. If you're one of these partners here, let us know. What your reasoning is for supporting Easter in the Village. Is it just something that you do every year? How do you get behind it? What do you do? Let us know. We this is follow the money season, so let us know what you're doing to support these kinds of events. Give us some ideas on that. Appreciate that very much. Let's see. What am I missing? Oh, my friend, my brother, is going down. Obed Sanchez is going to be doing a ceramic studio opening right there in Old Market, 1125 Jackson Suite 10, Omaha, Nebraska. It's the alleyway entrance, green door. We know he's been doing some work over there already, but he's finally opening up his ceramic studio there. This is happening March 28th from 6 to 12. This is a true art soldier right here for real. And then always dapper, always fly, always show up.
Oh yeah.
I don't care what we do. We could be moving somebody's house. This brother will show up in a suit, double breasted, looking fly.
Man.
It is. Shout out to Obed. He gets down. Also, this has been going down too at the Garden, man. They've been having these Friday night events happening, and we'll be talking about Sherman Wells. He'll be featured Friday night over at the Garden. A live performance and interview with Sherman Wells. Shout out to 95.7 The Boss that broadcasts these things on the radio. And shout out to the Garden, a place I still have not been. I got to get over there.
Man.
What's going on, man? But they got live radio, food and drink specials, poets, singers, comedians, creators, all over the place. So that's what's up. This is perfect timing for Brother Wells to kind of come back into the spotlight. He had his sermon with Sherman yesterday, and he dropped the track on us. In the beginning of that too, so he's talking about current events. So I wonder if he's going to perform at this Friday night live at the Garden. I wonder if he's going to perform one of his songs. I'd like to see that.
Doing his thing.
You can get out. More to come. We'll be talking about more in this rest of the show. There's more things happening, and if you have any haps, of course, let us know. Put them in the chat. Put them in Friends of First Sky Omaha with some details so we can find out what's good. When it comes to those things as well. Appreciate you. Willie Williams in the chat. Good morning.
Hey.
Mexico. Blessings. Appreciate you. Our Southwest correspondent in the house. Reminding me Juneteenth is coming up this year too. We got one of the biggest Juneteenth celebrations in the country over here in Omaha, Nebraska. Shout out to Willie Williams for coordinating those things. Appreciate you. And thanks for coming through this morning. You just reminded me what was up.
Man, if I'm not mistaken, I think I saw there might be some Juneteenth things happening before Juneteenth, letting the people know there's some educational things. Let us know if I'm wrong or if you have some things going on ahead of the big celebration.
That's right.
Yeah, definitely shout out. And thank you for tapping in from New Mexico and really all the listeners. Let us know where you're at. Let us know we got some people from Philly and all over. So again, big shout out to all the listeners. I actually want to talk about New Mexico here in a little bit.
Hmm.
Another Southwest correspondent. Of course, shout out to Melissa,
Melissa
Sister
Wright.
Melissa Wright. Yes, yes,
Yeah,
who's now down there in New Mexico. So yeah, we'll kind of be talking about some things here in a second.
for sure. Judy Printer says, sore from yesterday's workout. You and RG teamed up. You and RG over there working out. What's
Okay, putting
happening?
that new hip to work.
Man, what's up? I hear that sore from yesterday's workout. I tell you, the sore part is what I dread. Is that's the part that's hard for me to
Yeah.
go because I know I'm be be jacked up
Toe
afterwards.
up. Barely get up the stairs.
Having a hard time these days now, let alone
Yeah.
after a workout. But no, proud of you and everybody who does that. You're my heroes. I struggle with the gym. I'm so
Man,
unfamiliar with the gym. I'll call them James.
still calling him James.
Still calling him James, but we're gonna get to the familiarity of the gym soon. I appreciate it.
Health is wealth, man.
Speaking of which, Alan Faison, good morning, First Sky. I appreciate your cousin coming on in.
Hey.
His son, Alan Faison, is a gym dude himself. Man, he never was able to get me out there, but I was like, I'm glad I got somebody in the family that's into the health and fitness situation when I'm ready. When I'm ready, so that's what's up. She said, feeling sore is a good feeling. Okay, all right.
Okay.
It's a matter of opinion, but
Right. It's a perspective. It's a way of looking at it.
good, good way to look at it. Appreciate that. Willie Williams says, put us in touch. Appreciate you.
Okay.
Appreciate you. Thank you very much. Well, let's go ahead and start talking a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. We got a certain thread happening, of course, like
Yeah.
we do every show. We've tying some things together, and we're going to talk about them here in anticipation of our guest. Again, if you're just joining us, we're going to be speaking to Kimara Snipes from One Omaha. She's going to join us here shortly. So get your questions ready for her. Of course, we're going to be talking about neighborhoods, but we'll also be talking about school board stuff and also some other community items that she's a part of. So shout out to Kimara Snipes for agreeing to come on this morning. And I can't wait to speak to her. Get your questions ready. In the meantime, between time, what's the thread today, buddy? What are we talking
Yeah, I
about?
mean that's pretty much it, man. Neighbors, the neighborhood. Of course, this season is follow the money, but it's not always a direct approach to how we look at and talk about following the money. I kind of broke it down in past episodes as far as it's less about the dollars and cents and more about the economy, more about the ecosystem, more about how we trade goods and services
Mm,
and make sure that together we got what we need. I mean, that's a part of it. You know what I mean? So we're going to talk about that today. You actually hear us say it, at least me say it a lot on this show as far as we all we got, but that's enough. But Paul, ask the question, but what does that mean? What does that look like? What do we need? So again, we'll kind of explore that a little bit as far as the year of the neighbor. Of course, we've been having our meetup with the mayor this season. Big shout out to Mayor John Ewing for allowing us to do that. And of course, examining some of the things that he has rolling out this year. Of course, the year of the neighbor, as we showed on the screen earlier, is ongoing. Actually, the month of March was that year of the neighbor, and we'll kind of explain or really dive into how he's categorizing neighbor, which is interesting in many fronts. So we'll definitely look into that. Also, a few other things happening in the community, some creative district stuff going on. And
mhm.
we're all about the love supreme, man. So we're going to talk about that, but also look at what does that mean for communities coming together and doing some things, making sure some people are supported. So and definitely diving into that situation. But also, kind of mention as far as New Mexico goes, there's some big news coming out as far as New Mexico versus Meta, and definitely want to bring that back to what that means for us. As far as, of course, we've been saying Facebook count your days, and we've been trying to push people to the emails and things like that. But maybe even that's not safe. Again, in the neighborhood situation, how do we communicate with each other? How do we share ideas? How do we warn each other when things are going on? So yeah, we'll definitely be talking about that and more throughout the show. Make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, definitely. Also, as Paul mentioned, I want to dive into Brother Sherman sermons with Sherman coming back, sharing some thoughts. Yeah. We're going to explore that and more in the second hour. So as always, share your thoughts, have your questions ready, and of course, if there's anything we're missing out on, please feel free to let us know. Drop that into the chat. In the meantime, between time, okay, we're doing good on time. About 15 minutes into this thing, rolling along, man. So a few people still rolling in. Grab a seat, get your popcorn, have your thoughts ready. First guy Omaha in the morning is getting down.
That's right. Get your tune up. Get your tune
There
up,
you
brother.
go. There you go. There you go. What's the word, Paul?
Man, in the chat, they cracking me up. Arrows 402. Good morning, Mayor Sanchez. He says, F the James. He said, roll out of bed and bust out some burpees.
Okay. Okay.
Only burpees I be doing is after that pizza and beer, bro. Only burpees are going on around here. RG said, Beezy, once you get past that first sore day week, it's all easy street.
Yeah.
Do you know how many first days I've
It's all the first day sore week. It's all first day sore week.
But it is Wellness Wednesday. Health is wealth. We will be making a further attempt. So don't worry. We're gonna have to get out there. Can't at this age. There's no not doing it.
There you go.
You just won't be moving soon if you don't get moving. So it's not for aesthetics anymore. It's definitely to keep functioning as a human body.
Oh yeah,
is what you got to do it. So I appreciate everybody that goes out there and makes it happen, man. You guys are my inspiration for real, no joke. Brother Gary Clark is in the chat. Give us a morning. Good morning to you, bro. Getting a lot of good feedback from people who have seen your interview. If you haven't seen Brother Gary Clark's interview, please go back and check it out over there at YouTube and check it out. Yeah, I ran into Brother Ernest White the other day. He said, I heard it went well. So, yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. It was a great interview. I went back a couple times myself to get some points and to understand some things again too. So shout out to our guests. Shout out to all our guests. That we get some great guests on the show for real. We appreciate it. Tisa Harden says, "Move it, lose it, or die." I'm in the losing the stage right now, so I ain't got nothing to do but die next. So I better get to moving.
Hey, you gotta move it.
Got to do it. I think it's all the break dancing from the early early 80s. They got all these joints all jacked up nowadays. So it is what it is, though, man. Hey, you got to live your life.
Hey, there you go.
Only got one. We'll take a quick break and we'll come back and jump into the conversation. Thanks for joining us. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul B. He's Buddy to God. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
I'm Paul B. He's Buddy to God. You guys are chat chimers and ghost listeners in our book. And also shout out to the monitoring spirits. Been hearing a little bit of whispering around town of people that are checking us out. Got something to say sometimes. Hey, say it. Say it all. Want to thank everybody who is in the chat, people we call chat chimers. You guys chime up regularly.
Yeah, man.
And you use the chat how we are suggesting we use it, which is we speak on the chat as if we're speaking face to face. So we appreciate you guys showing respect to the chat here. We got the best chat in the world. Don't really have a lot of trolls coming through on the chat just saying stuff, because this is kind of a community conversation. We used to call ourselves a digital neighborhood association in a way. Because even though we're not in a certain location, we're spread out, but we have a certain amount of people that come through regularly and have regular conversations, not just one-off pieces of news, but, ongoing conversations about the news, how we feel about it, how it affects us, and what we do about it is kind of the topics that we go in on. So we appreciate you guys for being a part of that and continuing on with us with this endeavor and all the changes that comes with it. So stay with us because there will be changes afoot.
Man.
I just saw Kimara Snipes was actually in the chat a little earlier saying good morning. Excuse me. Good morning to you. I appreciate you. Can't wait to speak to you when you come on here shortly in a minute. Also getting a good morning from Nia Williams. Appreciate you coming through. Arrows 402 is saying before anyone starts a workout routine, stretch for a week or three first. If you can stretch, you can stretch for a month. Who ain't going to lift anything heavy? You ain't going to lift anything heavy. There you go. That's a good idea. It's a good idea to get the stretch on. Definitely pretty tight before you really start a workout. So
Oh
got
yeah.
to get the stretch on. And I think for especially at this age, for me, stretching is almost more important than lifting in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Just to
Yeah,
keep
man.
that mobility and keep the flexibility is getting kind of tough to do that. So yeah, highly encourage that. Appreciate the Wellness Wednesday tips.
Hey.
We'll definitely keep on talking about it in the spirit of Sherman Wells with his sermon with Sherman last night. We'll definitely have to dive into it. He talked a lot about that. He turned 50, so he was telling us about how he's trying to take care of this vessel he calls his body in a way, in a real way. So shout out to him for putting it on our minds as well. So with that, we'll go ahead and jump into the conversation. Get your questions ready, get your comments ready, buddy. What's first on the agenda?
Yeah, we'll kind of set it up as far as the theme, the thread, as we like to call it around here, and talking about neighbors and taking a page out of Mayor John Ewing's book. Of course, as I mentioned, we've been having our meeting with the mayor, and just keeping an eye on his first his tenure. Actually, he did announce recently that he was planning on rerunning as mayor as well. But yeah, definitely paying attention with again Omaha's first black mayor, seeing what's going on, and he's staying true to the message and the things that he's saying he's going to do, starting with this year of the neighbor initiative, which has kicked off this year. Again, this is actually something he announced during our first meeting of the mayor, and it is kind of interesting his approach to some of the things happening nationally. And I'll get into the month of March to kind of explain that a little bit. But again, the idea of a neighbor, again, calling it the year of the neighbor is something that Mayor Ewing is leaning on. I think, Paul, you kind of mentioned it does seem like Mayor Ewing is very selective on the words that he uses and kind of some of the phrases and things that he's trying to convey to the Omaha public, if you will. But again, he says he's expanding the definition of neighbor to include anyone in the community as a part of his 2026 initiative theme as the year of the neighbor, saying I take a broader approach and definition to include those in our community that you encounter in our daily lives, kind, considerate, and neighborly. Again, every month we'll have a theme. Actually, do you have that graphic again for year of the neighbor, which is going through this whole year? As you see, July, August, September, each month has a theme, but it actually starts. It's already started. It's not kicking off in July. Actually, the month of March has a theme for the month of March. It is on your street, which will concentrate on how to be a good neighbor to the people on the street in which we live. And again, I will say kudos to Mayor Ewing, who's kind of standing on business when you think about it. I mean, he just jumped into that fire, helping a neighbor in need. I mean, if that's not being a good neighbor, I don't know what is. You know what I mean? But he isn't stopping there. Actually, as we have Sister Kimara on, definitely want to talk to her about Grandma Harris a little later, a little more. But we do have a little video, if that's okay, Paul, of Mary Ewing. Yeah, I'll share it. Mary Ewing, again, recognizing Grandma Harris and actually giving her a key to the city. So,
Okay.
yeah. Again, shout out to Mayor Ewing stepping up and standing on business as far as the year of the neighbor. Check this out.
Comes time to recognize our honorees. Remember, you can honor a neighbor by going to the mayor's page and filling out a nomination form. This is one of the best parts of my job, amplifying the good works being done by others. February's theme was a good neighbor in one's family. This honoree is the late Laverne Grandma Harris, a longtime leader of the Highland South Indian Hills Neighborhood Association in South Omaha. Harris was beloved to all. She not only led the neighborhood, but showed genuine care and concern for people to the point they called her Grandma. Kimara described how Grandma Harris went so far as to invite her neighbor, Kimara, into her home following Snipes' surgery years ago. She said, and I quote, "She cared for me for 2 months while I recovered, making sure I had stability and dignity during a vulnerable time. Sadly, Miss Harris passed away before this recognition. She died earlier this month at the age of 92. May she rest in peace. Receiving this award is her daughter, Tracy Sanders, and I will be giving Miss Sanders the key to the city and also Omaha hat.
All right.
There you go. There you go. So I
Beautiful
definitely,
moment.
yeah, man, definitely. Sister Kimra in the chat already responded saying that was my girl. That was my girl. Yeah. Again, man, just about any opportunity Sister Kimra gets to speak about Grandma Harris, she does. So definitely want to give her the opportunity a little later on. But just sharing that now to again take a page and take lead from Mayor Ewing and the kind of the energy he's putting forward as far as the year of the neighbor. What does it mean to be a neighbor? So we're going to talk about today. Paul, any
Bro,
thoughts?
I've always heard of people getting the key to the city. I guess I watch too many Batman movies and stuff, but it's always the villain that gets the key to the city. But I never knew how you get a key to the city, and so
Mm.
I'm learning right now that you can nominate a neighbor who's been doing good work in the city, and they can end up getting the key to the city. That's crazy. I didn't really realize that. So it kind of tells me that there was always a mechanism there to recognize people that are doing good work in your neighborhood. A lot of people, there's been a lot of awards that have gone out, especially last year. We had a proliferation of awards. People started really kind of talking bad about them, like we were doing a whole bunch of patting on the back for everybody who's doing all this so-called work when the people who are doing a lot of work aren't really getting recognized and so on. And I even myself, it was our first year of giving our awards out, and I did feel a little bit like, wow, everybody got an award, kind of a little bit, it felt like
Hmm.
that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But then I kind of rethought that and thought, you know what, we should have all of them and then some. Like there ain't no bad idea. It's not a bad idea at all to be recognizing people, giving them their flowers while they're around, and recognizing when they do some work. It encourages us to keep on doing the good work when we get encouraged in those kinds of ways. So I kind of had to change my attitude about that too, and say, hey, any celebration of people in our neighborhoods that we can give, let's give it. So yeah, I'm really happy about this too, and I also want to remember that when Mayor Ewing came onto the show for the first meetup with the mayor, he was talking about the year of the neighbor, and it hit me that this was his silent protest of ICE and the things
Mm-hmm.
that are going on in the country. And I
Right.
actually asked him about that. I was like, is this kind of your way of combating those ideas?" He was like, "Absolutely, it's absolutely why I'm doing this." Because we talked about earlier about how he chooses his words wisely and so on and so forth. This is what's happening. Instead of being fiery and speaking out against ICE in the way that he probably feels, he's moving past that and saying, well, what should we be really focusing on? And that's neighborhoods and neighbors. And so hey, we learned about neighbor. I learned about neighborhoods from Kimara Snipes. Kimara Snipes is the one that has really impressed on me neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
Even at this big age, I'm learning something new from her about it, and from our time of hanging with her and having her on the show and being a part of First Sky Fam, this is what I've been learning about it. So now it's just another step into it. It's another step forward for me to be like, okay, all right, okay, and you get the key to the city too if you win. Like it's kind of a interesting thing to really think about how just us giving each other flowers while we're still around is such an important piece of the community
Mm-hmm.
building.
There you go. Actually, Sister Kimber in the chat still giving us information. She says this has actually never happened before. This
Mm,
is the first time neighbors have been really elevated like this. Kind of
really?
going along with what RG is saying in the chat. As far as Streetcar Sally, would never.
Streetcar Sally. Tamara Dwyer in the chat. Good morning. Says I have one. You got a key to the city too.
You got a
Hey,
key. You got a
Smiles,
key.
Smiles McGee got a whole day named after her. So I'm check out Tamara. You know what? But you know what? This is just par for the course, man. Mayor's office is, and of course it's because of who it is. But like the mayor's office right now is like the coolest mayor's office that I've ever seen. I haven't been paying that much attention to mayor's offices, but but this one in particular, man, doing some work, like really doing. I feel like they're really kind of doing some things. So I hope that continues on. We are absolutely going to be keeping an eye on everything and holding folks accountable when need be. But I also am the kind of person that like likes to give people benefit of the doubt, likes to take people for their word when they say what they're going to do, and if I see them doing what they say they're going to do, even better.
Hmm.
And and that's what's been going on so far. It's got me in a spirit of giving back to the neighbor right now for real.
Man, actually, speaking of that, this isn't a story I pulled, but it just reminded me of something. We talked about it on Monday. City Council had a meeting yesterday. Of
Yeah,
course, Mayor Ewing put down his state of the city on Friday and mentioned during that address that he would be using, or the plan is to use TIF for affordable housing. And I just wanted to put out there that City Council actually did push that forward at yesterday's meeting, as far as using and kind of clearing the path and the language to use TIF for affordable housing rather than some of these major, mall type projects that we've seen TIF be used for. So again, another win for Mayor Ewing.
there you go. Tisa Harden in the chat says definitely time to rebuild neighborhoods. Says I grew up in a neighborhood where everyone watched out for each other. Mamas could tell on you, and you can get in trouble. Time to take it back to old school. I hear that. There's a lot of
Yeah,
stuff we taking back to old school right about now. She said definitely the people's mayor. That's what's up.
for sure, for sure.
Brother Gary Clark says we feel that example from the mayor. We don't see competitors, we see partners. That's what's up.
Big time,
Yeah.
big time, big time. So yeah, man. As yeah, we're kind of getting halfway through the first hour, but I do want to build on that a little bit as far as what Brother Gary Clark is saying. We don't see competitors, we see partners, and dive into a few examples of, when communities come together, when people in the community come together, what can be done and, what should be done. So, yeah, we'll continue this conversation
Like
here in a
that.
second. But yeah, let's smell the coffee beans a little bit if that's okay, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back and jump back into the conversation. Man, great comments so far. Great engagement. I really appreciate everybody that's coming in, having this conversation. Feel very positive and intentional about what we need to be doing with neighbors and neighborhoods. Stay tuned.
Yeah,
We'll be
man.
right back. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Yep, yep. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Hey,
First Sky Omaha in the morning.
in the morning.
If you didn't know, we need to change the song up because then we might switch this up and then have to start singing in the evening.
Man, in the evening.
Kind of works.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
As long as it's not in the afternoon.
I wasn't too bad either, though, really.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we're talking about that because we are talking about making changes next season. We always
Man.
every season we talk about what changes we need to make, and it has to do with us deciding on where you're at. We always want to put it out there. The question where you guys at. We want to meet you where you're at to do this communication, have this communication, and make sure that we can be in contact with each other on things. We'll be talking a little bit later on in the show, probably in the second hour, more about some of these technical changes and things that are happening being and we just have to put it on our minds that we got to figure out how to keep communicating through all the chaos that's happening with the communication scene in the world. So we'll definitely talk about it and get your thoughts ready together. Get your thoughts together too. We want to hear from you on that. For real, for real. Moving right along, buddy. You wanted to keep on with the thread. Building off of what Brother Gary Clark said. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Talk about collaboration again. For those who might have missed the comment, Brother Gary Clark in the chat says we feel that example from the mayor talking about the year of the neighbor, saying we don't see competitors, we see partners. And actually, speaking of partners, shout out to Tisa Harden, who's been holding it down at the visitor center or the Pink Lotus Project. She says, since this is Wellness Wednesday, please put out that I am always looking for wellness partners. Anyone that wants to work with Pink Lotus to keep our community healthy. And that's the man,
Sure.
that's what it's all about. It's what it's all about. Community come together. Again, we always say we all we got, but that's enough. But again, what does that look like? What does that mean? What do we need? So again, I want to dive into a little bit of the affirmative as we do sometimes here on the show, starting with something near and dear to our heart, talking about the love supreme communities coming together to help with the arts, to help with the creatives in the form of creative districts. One big news item coming out of KMTV3 as far as the historic Dundee Creative District announcing that they recently received a $100,000 grant from the Nebraska Arts Council, which again, shout out to them. We've been speaking about the Nebraska Arts Council a little bit and some of the entities that exist in the state of Nebraska that supports the arts and supports artists and art programs. And they've been getting a haircut here recently. So this is kind of big news that again organizations are still getting a hand. Again, the Nebraska Arts Council awarded a $100,000 grant to fund arts installations connecting 50th and Underwood to 50th and Dodge, also other programming and community events. But again, what we want to talk about is less about the Dundee situation. Of course, shout out to our friends over in Dundee. Film Streams, they have a location over there. Hop, skip, and a jump from our people. Shout out to Udalale. Dundee gets down. It's okay. But it's not just Dundee, man. Of course, the concept of a creative district is what we want to focus on. Again, it's not just Dundee. I believe Benson also recently launched their creative district, and we've actually shout out to the our BFFs over there at Benson, getting down and trying to do some things as well, and really bring this down to the Deuce, to 24th, to North Omaha, South Omaha. What is a creative district? What can it do? What does it mean? Paul, I know you had some conversations. You were actually again out in Western Nebraska, kind of talking about the future of arts and humanities in Nebraska. What say you, man?
Yeah, they had a lot of interesting conversations about a creative district. We're actually having these conversations right now. I'm working with Annie Butler, that's over there running the Omaha Creative, the Benson Creative District there, and in partnership with a lot of other entities out there. We're talking about what partnerships can happen. And a question is definitely coming up about creative districts. What is a creative district? What is it good for? What does it mean? What do you think of? I have to say that there is some talks and rumblings about the Deuce also becoming a creative district, and that's why my ears are perked up about what
Mm-hmm.
some of these things are. So we've been learning a lot, hearing a lot about them. I wasn't aware until today that Dundee was a creative district as well. So that was really really interesting to me. It made me start thinking, okay, what happens there? Well, we have Dundee Days there that happens.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually played the stage at Dundee Days
Really?
when I had a band. Yep, sure did. A couple times had some musical activity there at Dundee Days. So that was something I remember happening there a lot. But Dundee is not really known for the art walks and stuff like that like Benson is known for. So what does a creative district mean for Dundee? It's going to be different than how it is turning out for Benson. It's going to, of course, even be even more different when it turns into the Deuce. It turns into 24th and Lake Street area being like a creative district. So
Mm-hmm.
each one is serving different purposes in different places, and we're kind of understanding what that means. But really, the thing that's standing out to me is just how people are getting together, how the business owners are getting together, how the citizens around the area are getting together, how they put the input in on whether or not they're going to have Dundee Day and other things like that. I was just thinking about the area over there in the parade that did not
Florence.
happen, Florence.
Yep.
Yeah, it makes me go. What are there any creative districts or any BIDs or anything over there in Florence? And I
Mm.
wonder if how much influence they have on whether or not that parade was going to happen and so on. So, when we think about different parts of the town, different districts, we kind of want the whole gamut. We want to
Right.
be able to bring people there, have something fun to do for people that live in the neighborhood, and of course we are proponents for creative life and being art soldiers in the first place. So we think that that's going to be the thing that brings people together in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And so what does that mean? So it was a good example. I started off looking at that story like, yeah, that's not very interesting. And then after a while, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Dundee is a creative district. Okay, there's a question floating around right now. What are creative districts for? What do they do? What
Mm-hmm.
are they supposed to do? What do you want to see them do? So I'll put that out there to the chat. What say you on that? Love to hear your feedback on that as well.
Yeah.
On what a creative district means to you, please.
Tisha Harden doubling down on the love supreme. She says it's the creative that keeps our neighborhoods alive and engaged. Definitely, definitely, man. If
Big
I go to a neighborhood and there's no art, I'm kind of looking like, yeah, I'm gonna keep rolling through, keep rolling through. Also, this is a season to follow the money, and I am thinking about it from an economic perspective. Not only is a creative district an entity that can win grants, raise hundreds of thousands of dollars, and distribute those funds throughout the community, but also I just came back from South by Southwest.
Mhm.
And it's not South by Southwest, for those who aren't familiar, is a now well-known musical festival in Austin, Texas, along a certain neighborhood. It's just along one block, 6th Street in downtown Austin, Texas. And this is something that is sponsored, supported by the city. Actually, it's funny. I was talking to one of the security guards while I was down there. And the security guards, we were talking about how much the events cost and the passes and things like that. Like a pass to South by Southwest is like $2,500 per pass, which is crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But the security guard was kind of breaking it down, and it's interesting. He was like, a lot of these companies are just paying for these for their employees, and then a lot of the money goes right back to the city. Like again, the barriers that are rented to shut down the blocks, the overtime police officers that are there, some of the businesses in the area, bars getting
Mm,
funds coming in, and,
mhm,
and the concept that the actual city of Austin is behind this festival
mhm,
is interesting. So when you think of again the possibilities of creative districts, you think of a South by Southwest of bringing in hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people into a city to spend dollars to see the community, to see the artists there. What does that mean, and how much money can that bring into a community? Among other things. But again, just wanted to touch on that, especially from my South by Southwest experience.
Yeah, what say you? Let us know about that. I was thinking about. I read something about South by Southwest recently too. That usually it was held in a kind of a centralized location, but that
Mhm.
building got torn down, so they kind of spread it out around town. And they were talking about how that affected the event and what happened there with that. And it was the same. And now it makes sense to me now that I'm hearing, that a lot of that money is kind of circulating, staying in town that way because they just kind of really expanded their network on where they were going to hold certain events and stuff like that around town. It still worked for the city to not be in a
Mhm.
central place, and they basically had a bunch of little creative districts around that South by Southwest was happening at. So it just reminds me of how it is here, and we can have several of those types of things going on. Dundee's a creative district. Omaha, Benson is a creative district. Like I said, we're trying to build one down on 24th and Lake Street area. I'm wondering about where the other creative districts are and what that means and how money gets funneled. How money gets funneled to those districts because they're a district now. Obviously,
Mhm.
they become a district so that we can draw people to that area. So there's some visitors bureau and some tourism stuff that's got to be involved. And if we're following the money, is that what that's for? So again, I'd love to put it out there to the chat. I want to hear from you. When you think of creative district, what do you think of? Have you gone to places because it's a creative district? What should a creative district do? These are all kind of questions I want to put out to the public to get a little feedback on. And if you don't answer here, let us know on Friends of First Sky Omaha, the group page, or you can always hit us up with the email, firstsky@gmail.com, and let us know.
Big
So,
time. Oh, brother Michael Lee in the chat.
yo, yo.
Again, of the Black Caucus, he says we have an interim study on creative districts. Okay,
Hey,
yeah,
can't
yeah.
wait to
Let
read
us
that.
know. Yeah, yeah. Let us know what comes out of that. Marlon Harrison, Paul, kind of giving you some side eyes. He says, "Can we get a rebirth of the Allen Showcase in 2026?" Speaking of creatives on the Deuce,
Hey, that would be dope. That would be
it
dope.
would be nice.
We've been low key working on stuff like that since I moved here. So
Man,
yeah, we've been working on it. The first iteration of some of this that we did at Benson Theater. That was why I was involved with helping over there at the theater, making that happen. So the theater is a part of that whole legacy, and yeah, I'd love to continue some things on the Deuce. We're working on it for sure. Appreciate you.
man. Let's actually pick that up as far as the conversation about the Deuce becoming a creative district. Is that
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Let's get in.
yeah, yeah? Because I mean that is the question. There's been a few kind of ideas, creative district, historic district, business district. We've kind of talked about it here And we are some kind of seeing some of those things already. I do want to recognize Brother Preston Love Jr. in the North Omaha Visitor Center, which is kind of bringing new life, new vitality to the Deuce. Of course, he's expanding his featuring of local businesses. Shout out to KMTV3 for recognizing some of the businesses again housed at the visitor center. New opportunities for local entrepreneurs, business owners, including behind, of course, Idle Vital Living. Shout out to Idle Vital making a return to the Deuce. Also,
Hey,
Lady T's Gourmet Creations, Huskerland Popcorn are all setting up shop inside the center to reach new customers and bring more food options to the community, which is also something we'll talk about a little later on as far as needs in the area, food, of course, being one of them, but also third spaces. You've been talking a lot about the visitor center, Paul. What does that mean? Again, very high on the future of the Deuce. How are things looking?
definitely. I definitely think it was a genius move for Preston Love to push for this visitor center. It's turning out to be the kind of the Black City Hall, and everybody is meeting there, having very important meetings there all the time, from senators to other political leaders to community leaders. We'll have to talk to Kimara Snipes about this when she comes on, because that's kind of been her headquarters. That's the new
Yeah, man.
headquarters. She's there, posted up pretty much every day. I'm there probably every other day, and there's a lot of work that's being done out there. A lot of bringing together, a lot of coalition building and stuff that's happening there, and not just that, but actual business, actual like
Hmm.
really moving the needle. We were all real sad when Ida Vital moved from their spot on the Deuce, but you can still go down and get some juices now from the visitor center from Ida Vital, and then some other folks too. Other stuff there too. So there's just a lot, and I really don't think that people have a grasp yet on how important it is for us to have that third space in particular. We've been talking about a coffee shop in the area. How many times have we talked about a coffee shop on the Deuce?
Man.
I mean, it's been years that they've been talking about it. There's an actual real deal coffee shop there now, and it really does. It really has made a difference on where it is. First thought you have is, let's meet there. Let's meet
Hmm.
over there, and that's what's been going down. So I really see that. I appreciate that. We have the business improvement district that's over there on the Deuce. Shout out to Lavanya Goodwin and everybody who's behind the business improvement district. That always helps. There's a BID in Vincent too. That there first
Mm-hmm.
for the creative district. I think that our area should be a historic district as well, and I also think it should be a creative district. We always talk about the PGOT corner, which is something that we kind of came up with. I was noticing that there's a lot of classes and things happening for kids, and so I was saying, hey, this could be EGOT corner, where somebody can win an Emmy, a Grammy, a Oscar, and a Tony, which not many artists are able to do all four.
Man.
And
Yeah.
then Buddy came in with the P on the front. He was like,
Man.
"Well, we got Omaha Star, we got First Sky Omaha. Like somebody can win a Pulitzer Prize as well. So you got to put the P on EGOT now. So it's PGOT corner right there on 24th and Lake, and that's because it could very well be a place where kids especially can come and learn all of the arts, an actor, musician. There's all kinds of classes and things going on out there, and it's just a kind of a creative space for everybody to come and feel like can be creative. I walked into Union for Contemporary Art. There's somebody who's using the screen press machine to make their art on T-shirts. I mean, it's wide open out there. So we actually could be all the districts on that very important corner, the most important black corner in Nebraska, 24th and Lake. I would love to see it happen.
Man. Oh, okay. Marlon giving us a little okay. Was that an official designation? He says, let's not forget North 24th Street was once a creative district with the showcase, the Dreamland Ballroom, and dance studios, to name a few. Okay. I'm kind of curious. Was that an official designation, or are you just saying that this was a creative hub?
Yeah, it's definitely a creative hub. I don't think it's ever been a creative district, but yeah, I appreciate you bringing some of the history back as well. It's
Hmm.
always been a place for creative in the arts. It's always been that for sure. But being designated creative district requires some application, to form a committee, form a board, all kinds of things, and then being able to reach out for some dollars to really enhance that
Hmm.
that area too. So this is follow the money season. We're talking about what the difference is between a district that has a lot of creative things going on and a district that's an actual designated creative district. What does that mean? what does that
Right.
mean for how much money comes into the area as well?
I'm glad you made that designation. Like there's two different things, to have an area of concentration of culture and like that. I mean, 24th is kind of already that. But yeah, an actual creative district is a official entity organization thing that could definitely get some state dollars to support things like Joy Fest, Noma Fest, and some of
Right.
the other Native Omaha days, some of the other things that, we kind of are pushing ourselves can get some support.
Most def. I'm gonna jump to the chat real quick. Judy Printer says a creative district brings all cultures together with joy. I love that.
Hey, hey.
Appreciate that very much. Also, Michael Lee said, ask the senators about it next week, talking about
The
the
interim study.
the interim study. Yep, absolutely will. Also, earlier in the chat, I saw Tisa Hardy says, it's the create. It's the we said that already. It's the creative that keeps our neighborhoods alive and engaged. Worth saying again for sure. Black Dynamite in the chat saying good morning, all y'all. It's Wednesday. We halfway there for sure.
Big time.
RG is testing out our
No.
new slogan here. Over lunchtime. I can
Yeah,
hear you
okay,
singing it,
okay,
RG.
okay,
I hear you
okay,
singing it.
okay.
He said he's still politicking for 11-1.
Ah,
We'll put it on the ballot, bro. We'll put it on the ballot for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
I also
Also,
wanted to acknowledge
go ahead.
you skip Black Dynamites. We got to talk about this. He
Oh,
says that's exactly what we need. Talk about the South by Southwest
yeah.
conversation.
It's coming
He
back.
says, like we always said, people only come here for College World Series in Berkshire. So something that draws people to the city besides those two events will be amazing. It's a great point. Want to acknowledge that. Great point.
Bro, we was out there during Native Omaha days. Which was the biggest Native Omaha days ever, which just passed. And I was you just reminded me. I'm thinking of us being out there in Dreamland Park that night, like the last night of the
Mm,
and how that went down. How Legends on stage, Black Dynamite on the drums. Like we was like it went down. It went down that
yeah.
night, and that's what reminds me about like what could be happening down there. Like there was nothing like what happened at Dreamland Park that night. Like not in a while, not in a long time. And that when I think about what this could be as far as a creative district is concerned, I'm hearing music all up and down the street just like that.
Mm.
So yeah, but most deaf part of that. RG in the chat earlier says, speaking of Streetcar Sally, though, have either of you fellas gotten an invite to be on her K-Fab show?
Nah,
Oh, I've been
not
looking
yet.
for the invite. Haven't seen it. Have
Not
not
yet.
seen it. Marlon Harrison is reminding us. He says, "I'm going to need people to watch the news more." He said, "I've seen people saying the news isn't talking about the wildfires in western Nebraska, which is not true." Okay, so again,
Okay.
this is always a question that we're always putting out there. How do you get your news? We're looking at trying to figure out how to meet you where you're at. Do you watch mainstream news? These are all questions that are constant questions that we're trying to gather some information on because we got to get back to that conversation about communication, and we will get to
Mhm.
that for sure. Appreciate everybody that is joining us in the comments today. Is 7:53 right now. If you believe in the concept of time and you live in Omaha, Nebraska, I got a message from Miss Kimara Snipes. She's going to be running a little late, and that's all good. So we're going to wait for her to come on through and maybe have a conversation with her a little bit later, a little bit in the second hour. And
Word.
then we'll continue this conversation about neighborhoods and neighbors, man, and what we can do with our physical spaces. And before we get to it, man, I gotta say, I keep on making reference to this communication that we need to have.
Mhm.
You already know, if you follow me at all, you already know I'm all about living alive with one another. Um, I gotta say that even though we make use of this digital communication in order for us to be able to speak to folks, and we got people all over, as you can see, we got people in different states tuning in, as you can see, and that is the case. But I'm having just like I'm having a appreciation for physical media again when it comes to tapes and CDs and records instead of Spotify. I'm having a resurgence of appreciation for the neighborhoods, being able to walk out into your neighborhood and have a meeting with somebody
Mm.
in your neighborhood and teaming up with people who you live around to get something done. And that might be ground zero for everything that's happening right here in our society now. So it is definitely something worth considering and thinking about, and we will be talking about it for sure. Marlon Harrison says, "Thank you guys for clarification. I didn't know creative hub and creative districts was two separate things. Yeah.
Yes.
This district thing is that, yeah, I appreciate that. We're kind of talking about creative district as if we all know what it is, but creative district is something that the designated by the city, and that puts you in a different category. So we'll talk about it. As a matter of fact, it looks like we have our special guest that's trying to get in now. So we'll let her get set up, and then we'll jump into it. Not sure what happened over here. Technical difficulties. Should get it together. Should get it together. We'll take a quick break and we'll come back and bring on Miss Kimara Snipes. Stay tuned. Again, you're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul B. He's buddy to
Hey.
God. Stay tuned, y'all. Be right back. If I can get the thing going. All right. There.
Hey,
there,
hey.
there.
Okay. Okay.
Welcome back. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul B. He's buddy to God, and we got Miss
Hey.
Kimara Snipes in the chat.
Good
Hey.
morning.
Good morning. How are you doing this morning?
How you doing, sis?
I'm all right. I wasn't prepared for y'all to play that clip this morning. I said, no, they didn't. Got me
Come
up
on.
here crying. I ain't even left the
Come on.
house yet.
well, at least we didn't play it while you was on
Yeah,
camera. We
that's
kind
what
of
I
left
said.
it.
At least they didn't do it. I was on the show. Thank you, God.
What's up?
Thank you,
Whatever.
God.
You was on the camera in the video crying, so it don't matter.
I was like, dang it. Dang it. That's why I'm standing behind the mayor. Maybe they won't see me.
Let's
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
talk about it though. Let's talk about it. Of course,
Uh,
the passing of Grandma Harris. You've been talking about her, waving the flag, bigging her up. Now she getting the key to the city. Let's talk about it.
yeah.
Neighbors. I mean, she started
You
you on your neighbor journey.
Absolutely. 20 years ago, actually. That's Miss Tracy. Tracy is her daughter who I met first. Me and
Mm-hmm.
Tracy lived on the same street in South Omaha. And it's interesting as I've been doing public like stakeholder outreach for One Omaha. And even heard Tisa talking about this morning. Everybody talks about back in the day when we knew our neighbors and we talked to each other. We were sitting on the front porches and not the back porches and all these different things. And I would see Tracy down the street, sitting outside. I'd be checking my mail. We all had the same mailbox. And then one day I just spoke, like, hey, how you doing? And we got to talking. And Tracy was running the drill team in South Omaha. And so I
Mm.
started helping her with it. I love kids. Eventually became co-directors of South Omaha March and Phoenix. We was the only drill team in South Omaha. I would say we was probably the most diverse drill team in Omaha as well. And it was just a good time. And Grandma Harris, who also lived in South Omaha, she lived in South Omaha for 63 years. She was from East St.
Mm.
Louis. She would be over there. She lived up on S Street. We lived on Y Street. And she would come over there and things. And one day she was like, baby, I want you to come to this meeting with me. And I was like, yes, ma'am. Sure will, ma'am. And it was a Highland South Indian Hill Neighborhood Association. And Anita Rojas was the president. It was Grandma Harrison there. It was mostly Black women. Anita Rojas, of course, is a Latina woman. Miss Moselle Patterson, who is still alive. Miss U. Esther Briggs, who we call her UB, she's still alive. She lived over on U Street. Um, a few folks who aren't here anymore. Miss Mary Nelson, who was also part of the original that Native Omahans, those ladies who was really getting all this
Mm.
going. She lived over south as well. She also was a member of the church I grew up in, which is Allen Chapel, A&E in South Omaha, which was the first Black church in South Omaha. And so, yeah, these women, the Croc Center that's there, they advocated a lot for that. Before
Mm.
that was there was just rats running through the neighborhood from the packet house that used to be there that they just left scratch. Just it was horrible. It was an eyesore. And I watched these women, and I watched the Croc Center get built, and I watched these ladies coming together with weed and seed, and marching down where they thought crime was going on, and demanding just better things, and just this consistent, when I talk about coming together and creating a meaningful sense of community ownership, that's what that was. That
Mm.
consistently coming together, and people caring about what's happening around them, and actively living out what, when we talk about what would Jesus do. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying?
Mm.
And
Hello.
so it was just a beautiful thing, and it introduced me to, like, I'm sorry, I was in the hospital for a month, and I was taking care of my dad, and I ended up having heart and kidney failure, and I couldn't walk, and I was in a wheelchair, a walker, and everything. And she took me into her house, and she cared for me, and she wasn't even my blood. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and that's why it hits me so much, because even though she was 92, it was still unexpected. I mean, I was just over there the weekend before, and if you saw the Omaha magazine article, I talked about her in there,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
and she was saying to me, she said, "You always talk about me to somebody." She said, "You always bring me up. I heard you was doing it again." I said, "Yes, ma'am. I'm gonna keep on doing it, and I'm gonna keep on doing it because I took a pay cut to take this job. I don't do this for the money.
Mm.
I do this because I understand the power of it. You see what I'm saying? And these ladies showed me that. And even outside of that, had I never went to that neighborhood association meeting, I would have never found the South Omaha Neighborhood Alliance. I would have never become their president. I would have never met Lacey Merica, who told me you should run for school board. I would have
Mm.
never been connected to any of these systems that are designed to serve me. I would have never met Keith Mello, who was my state senator, who ended up running for mayor and showed me I could do that too.
Mm-hmm.
I never would have met so many people. Um, Probably wouldn't be sitting here right now having this conversation on this show. And so she meant so much to me. And I'm gonna miss her a lot. Like, that was my girl. And I'm sorry for being on here like a big old baby, but that
No,
was
it's
my
all
Hey,
girl.
right.
ain't nothing
Tracy
wrong with
told
it.
me yesterday, she said, "You were her granddaughter." I mean, and I know a lot of people called her Grandma Harris. Um, and rightfully so. And that was my dog, man. I'm gonna miss her a whole lot. That was my OG, and she showed me so 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 much. And if we just had more people in the city like her, man. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Superhero.
was really touched by your post that you put up a little bit ago. You said, "Don't get me wrong, I think about Grandma Harris quite a bit, but this last 7 days has been way more than normal. I feel this different sort of energy when it comes to my work. I've really been questioning myself all week as to not necessarily why I do this, but how I make it be where she always envisioned what neighborhoods could be."
Mm.
Sounds like she gave you a huge vantage point on what it is that neighborhoods can be. I always give you the credit for making sure that we're making sure that people know that the reason why I'm interested in neighborhoods like I am is because of you, is because of the
Yeah.
way that you have advocated, and it sounds like Grandma Harris was the reason why you changed your
Oh yeah.
viewpoint on neighborhoods. So
Oh yeah.
I love it.
Oh
I
yeah.
love it.
Yes. Absolutely. 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 So it's now it's about like legacy, which is something that's also very important to me. And
Mm-hmm.
so this work continues, and now it just has a different energy behind it, an
Mhm.
extra energy behind it. And so I can't
That's
let
what's
it
up.
be in vain.
Heard that. For
For
those of you who
sure.
want some more information, I highly encourage you to go check out the Omaha magazine. Shout out to Omaha
Man.
magazine.
Yeah.
They're really making some changes around there. Shout out to Doug Meeks and whoever's behind doing that. But yeah, I really encourage you to go check this article out. She talks a little bit about Grandma Harris in there and just about her and her journey. And
Hmm.
it's always interesting. You think you know a person, we know you, but we always learn something from anytime anybody writes about you or anytime you write about yourself. We always learn more. So I highly encourage you to go
Hmm.
check that out. Again, shout out to Omaha Magazine. I think we want to definitely jump into a little bit of conversation about the neighborhoods because it's
Yeah.
been the topic here.
Mhm.
Yeah, buddy, what's on your mind?
Yeah, I mean, we can just kind of start simple with the work. Of course, you're talking about the work getting a new energy behind it, and you do a lot of work in the community, wear a lot of hats. Officially, of course, a board member of OPS, executive director of One Omaha. So we can kind of start with that and dig a little deeper. But as far as One Omaha, how are things going? I know you have a lot of initiatives going on. You got some events coming up. So yeah, pop it.
Yeah, One Omaha is great. That is the highlight and joy of my life right now.
Nice.
Especially being a school board member where, the energy is a bit different, just to be honest with you. So One Omaha, it's been a lot going on. So first of all, you might have heard that we have been getting more into like the advocacy space. And so we did work with Senator McKinney to author a bill, which was LB 1214, which is really just about making sure that neighborhoods have the tools, the resources to actually use data. It would create these neighborhood data collaboratives across the state, starting off with 5 different sort of pilot areas. And the bill literally requires neighborhood associations, a nonprofit, and a planning organization to work together. It
Hmm.
brings these different groups using just real information. We get a lot of data, but we don't really get that neighborhood level data. When you dive into data, the lowest you get to is typically like the zip code level, right? It's hard to go to city council. It's hard to go to county commission advocating for your neighborhood when all you got is like zip code level data. So right now that bill is sitting in committee. And to my understanding, the senators are trying to find a way to get it out of committee because it does have a fiscal note of $250,000 total, not per collaborative, but total. So
Mm,
that's just again just a space for us to start exercising this just advocacy arm, which wasn't happening when I got to One Omaha. Something that I am very, very, very excited about is we are reviving our neighborhood needs assessment. The end of last year, I was kind of out here hustling to raise money to do this. And what it is we're going to do a neighborhood needs assessment in East Omaha in 6 different locations, 2 in North Omaha, 2 in Midtown, and 2 in South Omaha. And South Omaha will be working with the Latino Center of the Midlands and the South Omaha Neighborhood Alliance. In Midtown, we'll be working with the Midtown Neighborhood Alliance and also the Gramercy Park Neighborhood Collective. And if you're not familiar with them, that is an organization that has been doing a lot of organizing around the Saddle Creek corridor and different projects happening down there. We'll also
okay.
be working within North Omaha with the Empowerment Network and then a combination of the Black Agenda Alliance and the North Omaha Neighborhood Alliance. Um,
Nice.
we have been working on this since internally at One Omaha since fall of last year, including the
Mm,
fundraising for it. Completely thoroughly vetted category one consulting who we are working with. And it's kind of funny. Every meeting we have, I tell everybody we work with, look, they were suggested to me, and I'll be honest, I don't really like people suggesting people to me. I like to do things on my own and find people on my own. So of course I had to completely vet them. And when I went to their website, I told them straight up. I was like, look, when I went to your website, it's a bunch of white women. I said, and I
mm,
have a problem with that when it comes to doing work in our communities.
mhm.
When we had our first meeting, there were more people with them. And I went in there with about 20, 30 questions for these folks just to make sure like it was going to be what I needed to be. Um, and they really went through this vetting process and I was comfortable with them. Um, it has been such a joy just doing this. We've been co-designing this needs assessment with community. I gave them a
Mm.
list because I'm a crazy person, about 200 people I want them to reach out to, which is way too many. But we've been co-designing it. We'll be actually putting on the needs assessment between the months of April and June. The organizations that we're working with, we're going to pay them for staff time. And we
Nice.
really want them to lead the process because this is also about making sure that people are safe, making sure that people feel safe, making sure that there's trust there. And so they'll receive staff time. The people who come to take the assessment, and we're looking for about 20 to 40, maybe 50 people at each one, will receive a $50 cash stipend when they leave. Because here's the thing, your time is valuable, and not just a
Mm.
cash stipend. We're going to take care of food. If there's child care needs, we're going to take care of that. If there's transportation needs, we're going to take care of that too. I was very adamant when I started this process last fall that if One Omaha is going to bring back our neighborhood needs assessment, it's going to be as accessible as possible. That also includes language access too. And so Brother Kasim called me after the meeting we had, and he had forgotten that him and I had already talked. And during the meeting, Kasim was Kasim, you know. And I
Mhm.
told him I completely respect that because he's very protective of his community as he should be. And so, but by the time it was said and done, he's like completely on board. We had a great conversation. So I'm very excited about that because something else that I've talked about with this consulting agency is when this is done, how do we close the loop? Because here's what happens, people come into our communities and they extract all this information and we never know what they do with it. We never know
Mm.
what happened to it. So at the end of this, it's also about making sure that we close the loop on it, that we bring
Mm.
this information back. And I'll talk to you a little bit about our advisory board that we're starting at One Omaha, but I just applied for some funding where we'll use that to teach them how to read data, interpret data, and take this data back to community as well. And the advisory board are people who are connected at the ground level. It's not the people who work at a nonprofit and used to doing all this different work. It's the homegirl from the motorcycle club. It's the, people who still went through a vetting process too to make sure that, you're gonna be community oriented and ready to do this work. But I'm very excited about all of that. So neighborhood and needs assessment will happen between April and June. We've also been talking with the Omaha Public Library, establishing our neighborhood satellite hubs. It will likely be in North Omaha at the Charles B. Washington Branch Library, which is near and dear to my heart. The South Omaha Library is as well. And then the new library. I was supposed to have a tour of it this week, but I had to cancel it because something came up. But it's really about just building. I've been talking a lot about how our neighborhoods are these access points to civic infrastructure, right?
Mhm.
That can also be through our satellite hubs. And that's how we build just this neighborhood based like infrastructure for access, leadership, civic engagement. So when Omaha will be set up, kind of like office hours, maybe come in, learn about our programs, help people navigate systems, getting people access to participating in our own leadership development. And we can have conversations or forums in these spaces as well. So very excited about that. Been talking with my old boss at the library, who I used to work with at Charles B. Washington, about creating another program as well that I won't name yet, but it's going to be for young people. I mentioned that we started our advisory board. It's a 13-member advisory board, and it is people from East Omaha. It's such a good mix, and what we're doing is a key focus of the work right now is this community-driven health equity initiative project that we're working on. The group has identified top health priorities based on like lived experience, servicing barriers that residents experience. And so it's a project that we're working on to come up with a health equity memo. And I haven't told them this, but at the end of this, I plan to have them present the information that they find to the mayor's office, to the health department, to these organizations, and not Kimara doing it, but setting them up to be able to do it. Because this advisory board isn't just an advisory board, it's also a chance to give them what somebody gave me, right? An
Mhm.
opportunity to show these gifts and these strengths and these skills that I was born with, but I wasn't in a space where they could be used or seen or elevated or anything else. So just trying to make sure that we're passing that off as well.
You
Alex
said
will be.
you got people sitting around on the that's on the advisory committee going, we got to present it to the mayor. You done told them now they
But
kicking in your boots.
but here's the thing, like they also know that I'm not going to set them up for failure. You know,
Hmm.
even at our next advisory board meeting, we have a chair and a co-chair, and they're going to be running part of this meeting, right? But
Nice.
we've met together, and I've given the instructions on how to facilitate. Here's what you do. Ask me questions. Where are you comfortable? Where are you not comfortable? Because you know, regardless, I got you anyway, right?
Hmm.
And so, and I know from experience, it just takes practice, right? But they're also ready to go. Like I said, I still vetted the people, even though, like I said, might be a homegirl from here or whatever, whatever. All these people have the gifts, the skills, the talents that they need to be just really impactful with this advisory board. Leo Lewis is on the advisory board as well.
Okay.
Nancy Gardner from Miller Park, Minnelusa, who's been doing this work a really long time. Jennifer Reyna, who also is with South Omaha Neighborhood Alliance. I was talking about my girl, Nakia Ewing. She's the vice chair. Some of y'all may know her. I met her in the motorcycle community and we connected. And she's a leader. And maybe nobody has maybe pulled that out of her all the way yet, but it's about to happen. So I'm just very excited about it, and we'll also be starting a youth advisory board that Alex O'Hanlon, who is our engagement manager, will be leading that up. And
Dope.
our advisory board
Busy.
members get a stipend. They time is important too. So our advisory board members, the adult advisory board, is getting $100 per quarter. And so yeah,
Okay.
we're excited about that.
Nice
I heard
gesture.
y'all. Yes.
I appreciate you putting that educational aspect in there, helping people that are on the board to get to the next level as well, and not just taking it over. So that's I think it's a beautiful thing for sure.
Yeah,
You
just
know when
learning
when
things like
we
Robert rules. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I actually learned Robert's rules in the youth group at my church, right?
Is that
But
right?
anyway, absolutely. First time I ran for office was at Allen Chapel AME in South Omaha when I was running to be the president of the youth group. So
Hey,
yeah, it started young. I guess that's all I'm saying with that.
Definitely.
There was something I was gonna say and I forgot. Oh well, it'll come back to
you
me.
said
But
you heard us saying something earlier about something, and then I think I
oh,
cut
Year of
you.
the Neighbor, but that wasn't it. But with the Year of the Neighbor, I mentioned in the chat earlier, this is, I don't remember people in neighborhood work getting like keys to the city. And let's remember, I've been doing
Hmm.
this for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
In my 20 years of doing this, when Gene Stothard, now, when Jim Sutter was in office, and Gene Stothard, there was a lady named Narita Matt who worked in the planning department. And if anybody remember Narita Matt, she was the truth. And she really invested in this neighborhood work. When it comes to
Mm.
like the Neighborhoods USA conference, we used to put charter buses together. We used to have kickoff parties before everybody went down to the NUSA conference. When the NUSA conference was here in 2017, she really just helped just make sure that that was just the greatest event. So there was a lot of investment through that. Jean Stothard came in and she did create the mayor's neighborhood grant. And that's provided some additional access for neighborhood groups. They did change it to now where it's not just neighborhood associations. It can be a community-based organization as well. I'm up and down on how I feel about that, um, back and forth. But anyway, now we have this year of the neighbor, and I was very excited by that. And so what I did was I reached out to Erin Grace, who is the mayor's deputy chief of staff for communications, and just talk to her about it. And so out of that, we now have an official partnership with the mayor's office for Year of the Neighbor, One Omaha. And the
Yeah.
conversation is really about, how do we take this and add to it from, starting from an individual recognition. How do we take this and shift it to, looking at neighborhoods as systems? And so this is
Mm.
still an ongoing discussion, but really just moving, like, I guess I would say, visibility to impact. And so, the city is like, the way we talk about it is, that this is something that's inspiration, right, to an individual. But how do you take that inspiration and shift it into something sustainable where somebody is actively involved? And so when Omaha is the space that can show you how to take that inspiration and shift it into something that's actionable. something that we are going to do towards the end of this year in September is Good Neighbor Week, and Mayor Ewing is
Mm.
going to be our honorary chair for that. And I actually am going to be talking to y'all about that because it's going to be a week long, September 20th through September 26th. Starting off with the kickoff on Sunday, I'm going to meet with the IMA actually here next month, the Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance, and other faith
Mm.
organizations, so that we have an official proclamation from the city for Good Neighbor Week. And so have them read the proclamation in church, talk about community in your sermons. Monday will be Civic Monday. Tuesday is Talk to a Neighbor Tuesday. Wednesday will be Wellness Wednesday. Thursday is Thriving Thursday, and that's working all about businesses, small businesses, getting them to do a good neighbor discount. Friday will be Fix It Friday, and Saturday will be Celebrate Saturday. And so just we're in trying to plan early. I want as many people involved as possible. Fix It Friday, we're talking to Keep Omaha Beautiful, different things like that. And so just a way to kind of keep this neighborliness going. From the ground up will be next month. Alex O'Hanlon is leading that. It'll be 3 weeks in a row. Join our newsletter and follow our social media to get more information about it. Catlin's doing a wonderful job. We've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes as well, building out a strategic fundraising plan. I've been building out all of our frameworks, SOPs, and all that stuff too. But I'm telling you, we rocking and we rolling. And if somebody got something to say about anything we doing, holler at me. But I think that we doing our thing, and I love this work, and I give my all to this work. And I just wanted to keep going, and I want One Omaha to keep growing. And I know that it will with the path that we're on. I had a funder tell me, I told them thank you for something. They said, Kimmer, no, thank you. Because every time we talk to somebody, they talking about someone, Omaha wants to partner and do this. And so thank you for not being a silo and being willing to work with people. And I had somebody else tell me that I have a reputation for doing what I say I'm going to do. And so I guess I just want to keep that going because that's what my grandma would have wanted me to do.
There
There
you
you
go.
go. That's what it's
Appreciate
about.
that.
That's what it's about. I
Let me
appreciate
yeah,
this.
let me
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Let me just jump in here real quick and let everybody know who we're with. We're speaking with Kimara Snipes. She is executive director at One Omaha. You might also know her from the school board as well. It's 8:22 right now. If you're just joining us, and if you believe in the concept of time and live in Omaha, Nebraska, we appreciate you guys joining us. She's over at the headquarters right now.
Hey,
She's
hey.
broadcasting from the Visitor Center, North Omaha Visitor Center. Shout out to Preston Love for putting that together as well. We apologize for the technical difficulties. I was mistaken. I was thinking that those anomalies only happen when Senator
Mm.
Jerome McKinney, Senator Ashley Spivey's on, but it's happening to you too. So maybe they got everybody tagged. I don't know what's going on there, but
I
we
got
can
it on
still hear
my
you.
phone.
Huh? Say again.
Oh, you can't see me?
Yeah,
No,
we
we
can
can
see
hear
you.
you. We can
We can
see.
see you. Yeah,
Oh,
there's
I
there's
had to
there's
move
some
to my
sound
phone
problems.
earlier. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we can hear you. You're all good. We appreciate you. Mama got in the chat real quick says my husband receives dialysis at the same center as Mr. Henry Lee. He just told me that Mr. Lee passed. I don't
Mm.
know if First Sky received that information. Oh my
No, we
goodness.
did not. We did not. But
Oh no.
man, sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
Thanks
I
for sharing that.
appreciate you sharing that. Yeah.
Man,
Uh, yeah, that's
man.
rough. Bro. Yeah, we appreciate you guys tuning in and bearing with us through the technical difficulties, but it's worth it for us to be able to hear what you got going on. We really appreciate you breaking down some of that work. We were limited time here, so I definitely want to get back to Buddy and have Buddy lead the rest of the questions here. But I'm so glad that you took the time to break down what One Omaha is doing. I really think that
It's a
One
lot.
Omaha is a special organization, and the work that you're doing over there is really important. To me, it's like you've been preaching about the neighborhoods and the neighborhoods association, you're trying to get everybody to join associations, trying to get people to partner with the neighborhood alliances, and now you're in an organization that can actually do some support, and you paying people stipends and everything to really push this neighborhood situation together, and we're all about it because we
Mhm.
kind of feel like that's got to be ground zero for us to
Yeah.
be able to fight this fight out here. So with that, buddy, let me. I know we only got about 4 or 5 minutes left here, so buddy, you want to get to the questions you were trying to get to?
Yeah. Well, definitely in the spirit of time, kind of cut to the meat and potatoes of today's conversation, today's theme. With our, I know you kind of touched on it, so I'm glad you did. But as far as the needs assessment, I do want to talk about that. We were talking about neighborhoods. Actually, you've been, very, very vocal and kind of pushing the line as far as looking at neighborhoods from a asset based lens, and you kind of just laid it out as far as building a system, and where I'm spending it as far as following the money, not necessarily talking about the dollars and cents that come into communities, but also talking about economy, talking about ecosystems, and how we can utilize each other and the resources, not just financially but otherwise, in our community to get the things that we're trying to get done. So with that, I wanted to focus more on this needs assessment you're talking about. We talk about here on the show. We all, but that's enough. But what does that mean? What does that look like? What do we actually need in the community, and what resources do we actually have? So you talked about this needs assessment and closing the loop. What's in the needs assessment? Some of the questions that people will be asking, and what does closing the loop actually look like once we address the needs in our community?
Yeah, we are still designing the questions. Actually, the organization, I just went through my 200 member list that I sent
Mm-hmm.
them. So I had to try to prioritize that to narrow that down. And so they are actually reaching out to people.
Uh
Uh-oh.
oh, gremlins, gremlins, gremlins.
Gremlins got him. Gremlins got him.
Bright light.
Gremlins is a trip. Yeah, we'll let her. Oh, look, she got an alternative. She came in with an alternative.
Mm,
That's what's up. Okay.
What just happened? Okay, that was weird.
that was,
Um,
but we got you.
Yeah. So yes, and so they are talking with different people, trying to make sure we're asking the right questions, right? Because I mean, it's interesting as I was as I was working on this needs assessment last year. I kept this folder because I kept thinking of all these different things that we should be asking about, right? And as time goes on, I'm like, man, we can ask about all of this.
Oh,
Man, boy, I tell you what. Once again, appreciate you guys hanging in there with us during these difficulties here. She's getting thrown, and then again.
So anyway, I'm sorry, y'all. They're looking at me like, is she okay? I keep getting kicked off. Anyway, um,
You tell them to be quiet too while you're talking to them.
man.
oh, I said be quiet now. Y'all don't get me in trouble. So anyway, we are still in the design phase of that. And closing the loop one, we are done with this. When Omaha is going to be looking at this to figure out what we do next with our own program.
Mhm.
Mm, okay.
I think we we must be getting to something important because now
Get to talking about what we actually need and addressing those needs, and start freezing up. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yo listen.
So
Do you have this much problem when you on a Zoom call or something like this? Does this happen to you all the
I
time?
have never had a problem with y'all show ever. I wonder if it's like the location. I'm
Could be.
I'm trying to figure because I switched to my phone and I'm like, okay, the phone been working good all this time, but let me hurry up before I do it again. Um, and so closing the loop, you know, I'm still envisioning what that looks like, but from a high level, it means making sure that I find a way to
Oh my
Mm-hmm.
goodness, bro.
community. Did you hear that? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, but
Hear you
we missed
now.
what you said. Yeah, it would look
Find a way
like.
to prevent what?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. What
Okay, yeah, we're gonna give her a little minute there to get that together. She getting ready to get mad enough, start cussing. Uh,
Gremlins.
let's see. She can you hear us, Kimra? Can you hear us?
I'm here. You
Okay.
sound like a chipmunk, but I'm here.
Hmm.
You sound
Take
like a
me to your
chipmunk.
leader.
Oh my God. I don't know what you said that time. But
uh, let's restart.
oh my God. This is
Take me
so
to your
funny.
leader.
Oh God, this is hilarious.
Yeah, restart,
Um,
restart.
I don't know what you're saying, but it is hilarious. Do I sound like a chipmunk too? Because this is
Here, let me say it slow. So restart. Now that maybe that'll be a.
it's just hilarious. I don't know what to do now. But
You
closing the
can't say
loop,
that either.
at a high level to me is making sure that we find a way to present this information back so people know what we found out. And I'm open to discussion on what that looks like. To me, it'll probably multiple forms of that, but that's what we're also talking about with C1, C2, because I just know we have to do it. Point blank, period. You can't just come in and pull a bunch of information and then not come back and share it.
Mm-hmm.
Point blank, period.
So that's
So
the biggest thing is the
I
sharing
don't know
back.
what you're
Okay.
saying, Paul. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Just
It's all right.
this is okay.
Uh, yeah, just restart. If you can hear me say restart, restart.
Oh my god.
Because you see
What did
that?
I say?
Am I backwards?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know what that. You know I'm 50. I
Live.
All right. We've done enough. We here, I know I can do. I can text her. That's what I'll do. We appreciate just for the recording sake. We appreciate you coming through, and when you come back to hear us talking about it, then you'll understand what we're saying.
Thanks, RG. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to
Thanks for the tech support, y'all. Thank you.
do the tech support.
Wanda Lewis said, "Don't forget how the internet is on North 24th. It's always been an issue."
This is true. This is very, very true. Yeah. As a matter of fact, we're in talks. Yeah, we there doesn't need to be something about it. There's not any high speed on the block yet, which I think is incredible. It's the only centralized place around here that doesn't have high speed on the block, which is a real trip. So yeah, I appreciate that. I'm gonna go ahead and cut her off here, and then we'll just give her a text and see if she wants to come back on if she can. Uh, but we'll continue on without her. And again, we apologize for these technical difficulties. Not really sure what's going on, man. I really it's hard for me to not jump into some conspiracies about the way we're getting tailed while these things are happening. Seems like we have a hard time doing that. Like we just had this happen with Senator Terrell McKinney and Senator Ashley Spivey the other day, and they're all the way in Lincoln at the Capitol. So they're a little ways away from 24th, and it's still going on. So I'm not really
Actually,
sure what's happening on it, but we'll figure it out, and we'll get to the conversation at some point about what we're gonna do about it. I know if we was all live sitting here talking to each other,
I
it
mean,
would be no
it
cutoff.
kind of is a part of the conversation today. That is a part of it. In this last 30 minutes of the show, can definitely dive into it. And set it up as far as, yeah, we can't talk about neighborhoods. We can't talk about addressing the needs of the neighborhood. We can't talk about any of this if we can't talk. If you see, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, if you're hearing what I'm saying, again, I'll repeat: we can't talk about any of this if we can't talk.
Reminds me of that scene in the Matrix when Neo's mouth started closing up and said it.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Again, we've been, asking, putting out fillers. How do you get your news? How do you get your information? How do you, communicate? How do we communicate with each other? And again, kind of laid it out a little bit, kind of foreshadowed. But let's dive into. Shout out to our one of our Southwest correspondents, Sister Melissa Wright, who's been reporting on this, and we've been learning about this story by way of her reporting.
Mhm.
But talking about the Meta New Mexico situation, if you
Yeah.
haven't heard about this case, actually a landmark case in regards to states' fight against the tech bros, if you will, the tech giants out there that are, man, kind of having their way, if you will, not just as far as data centers, but also just some of the impact that they've had on our communities, on especially our young folk, and how we communicate in general. But again, a big, big landmark case has come by way of this Meta versus New Mexico. Again, New Mexico has a landmark victory against Meta, who's now been ordered to pay $375 million over suspected child exploitation and user safety claims. This kind of circles around the notion and really the proved, information out there that specifically Meta, which includes Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, several other social media connecting apps, and the impact it has on social media and the mental health of youth specifically. Apparently, the courts in New Mexico had saw enough and found that again, Meta was reliable or responsible for some of the mental health things and deterioration of mental health, and of course the proliferation or increase of suicidal ideations and some of these things that we've seen going on in social media or in society in general that we kind of have a feeling is connected to social media. Again, this has been identified in court. $375 million Meta is ordered to pay in civil payments to New Mexico, which again is just a tip of the iceberg in regards to social media, the use of social media, how safe is social media as far as the information that is spread. Of course, we've seen the sale of TikTok recently to kind of give a glimpse into the response to that. Of course, TikTok was widely connected to some of the rhetoric going on around Palestine and Gaza, and a lot of pro-Palestinian messaging and users on TikTok. A lot of people felt like that led to the forced sale of TikTok. So, again, all of this pointing to social media being controlled and being a certain cesspool of communication, if you will, but at the same time being the most used form of communication, even so much so to it's to the point where most of us get our news through social media. But again, how long is that going to last? How much can we trust that? And of course, we've turned to emails with our weekly wrap. But Paul, you were kind of talking about before the show, you came across some things that suggest that might not even be as safe as we might have thought. What say you?
Yeah, well, it definitely has come out. Email it has never been safe. It's all has to go to central hubs that major
Servers.
corporations control, and they have access to it. There's been reports out there that they've been using your emails to teach the large language models, the AI, and there's people that are trying to dig in and see if that's actually happened, so they can try to sue. And there's been all kinds of other kind of class action lawsuits and stuff like that over the use of your information. So I follow a few of the people that are out there talking about unplugging, basically. What's going to happen when all this stuff goes down, and if you are a person that wants your privacy and values the fact that you should be able to send messages back and forth to friends and family members without it being tracked, then all the stuff has got to be concerning to you. So that just happened too. Just something just happened. Meta and some other organizations have already made a switch now to where now your DMs can be seen, and that's even less security there too. So we keep on talking about this situation when it comes to security. When we first started this conversation, we talked a lot about the algorithms and how they made it so that a lot of your messages, sometimes a lot of your posts don't get to your followers because of the way they had to set things up for them to be able to make more money and make it so that your audience gets bottlenecked, so you don't have that much power over the people that follow you. And how there was workarounds for that. We talked a lot about places like Fanbase that we always put up as well. We don't really do anything over at Fanbase because there's not a lot of people over there that follow us at Fanbase. But Fanbase is a black-owned social media platform that claims right now that they're not letting any entities enter that situation or give away your data. On top of that, so because Isaac Hayes Jr. is actually addressing these things, who owns Fanbase, and he's addressing this. He's speaking on it all the time in the same way. There's ways that we can a lot of people make a living on social media. So there has to be a way that continues as well, and also to reach mass audiences. And of course, we can't forget about situations that are going on in other countries where where people are organizing with using social media in order to overthrow their situation
Man,
there and fix their governments and so on. So it is a powerful tool. We have to. There is ways to navigate around it. I think it's something that's not going to go away. We just have to figure out how to use it, and that's the thing I'm thinking about right now. There's already an etiquette that you are kind of using for certain things. If you have a something that's sensitive, you might give somebody a phone call. If you we talk about ethics in the workplace where it's almost a running joke. It's almost a trope now where somebody will send an email to somebody and it'll go to the whole company because they accidentally CC'd everybody. Then being on that side of a company where I got to see kind of the back end of what IT does. The way that it has access to everything that you ever send through your work email, but they also are in charge of keeping it off the main web because there's trade secrets and stuff like that that can't go out. I mean, there's a lot to discuss there when it comes to your privacy. There's a thing called YubiKey that a lot of people in a lot of organizations have, which is the key that has all your passwords on it and everything. You kind of put the key into your phone or put the key into your computer, and it locks everything up. In order for you have to have this key in order to get into certain things, so you don't have to remember all these passwords. There's so many things out there that is trying to give you a false sense of security. That I got to call it a false sense of security because
hmm,
ultimately these companies are locking it down maybe from other people, but not locking it down from themselves because they own it. So when it comes down to it, man, we have to figure out, and we've also seen other regimes. There's people in the chat. I'm quite sure Anthony Rogers is right. I see is in the chat. I'm quite sure there's other people in the chat that can attest to the fact that other countries will shut down the internet, will bottleneck the
yeah,
internet, throttle it, will use it to their advantage, will cut off communications, will do all kinds of things, and we can't put it past our country to do the same thing. And in a lot of ways, they have. So there's ways that there's things that we have to kind of get down to the bottom of, which is we have we've been joking around here about carrier pigeons and everything else, but really it's going to come down to physical
man,
meetings, us having physical meetings, and how do you do that? Who do you do that with? It's important where you live. It's important the neighborhoods that you live in. It's important the neighborhood associations that get together. And that's why it's important about the things that Kimra is pushing and really has been a champion of this whole time, because it really is coming down to I got to walk outside, knock on my neighbor's door, and be like, "Yo, I, somebody getting hemmed up down the street." Whatever
man,
whatever the thing is, whatever the thing is. So, I'm constantly I'm a tech dude too, so I'm also constantly looking at all the offline things that are being built, all the radio frequencies that people are riding on. There's a lot of stuff that's going on tech wise too that is for the purpose of having anonymity and being able to contact each other over even long distances. CB radios and everything is coming
hmm,
back in fashion in a big way. We're going back to the 80s for real. Tapes, CDs, records,
man.
CB radios, shortwave, all kinds of stuff. It's kind of going down. So anyway, I can go on and on about this, but the reason why is because we have to get to this point of which we have a system for how we're going to communicate. I'll always think about parents who maybe tell their kids something happens at school, get a hold of a phone, call this number, make a kid memorize the number, or if something happens and we all get separated, here's the house this is the place we're gonna meet back up at.
Hmm.
Preparedness as far as those kinds of things are concerned, and it could be the same thing. What happens when we need to be able to get together and make sure we relay some information that might be important to us and our safety? How do we do that without being tracked? What does it mean? It might mean we all kind of hub in our respective communities, and then that'll make it easier for us to kind of get a person out to other communities to communicate. I'm sure that there's a lot of good ideas out there and a lot of examples of people that have already kind of gone through a lot of these things. So I think it's really time for us to really pay attention to those.
Yeah, yeah. On many fronts, is as you mentioned, we kind of laugh and joked about it, but if you kind of read the room, if you will, this is the real conversation that's going to be had because it's coming from every angle. We've been talking about some of the national security memorandums that have been coming out, some of the rhetoric that's been coming out from the Trump administration, acting like, certain nonprofits, certain people just voicing their opinion, exercising their First Amendment right. framing them as domestic terrorists. And there's now, reports of the IRS going through nonprofits, organizations, and going through people's social media. And there's already been protesters on college campuses that have been arrested for some of their rhetoric and some of their just voicing, of their opinions and feelings and exercising their rights. So, let's be mindful of the reality. And all those things are going to ramp up. Those things are getting worse, especially now with ICE going into TSA. It's getting worse on that front, and it's going to continue as far as especially as we get closer to midterm elections within the next couple of months. Expect more internal and this wild ghost chase of quote unquote what they're deeming domestic terrorists. That's going to continue, but also happening foreignly is the possibility of cyber attacks. So this is coming actually in Omaha. The FBI is rolling out a new public awareness campaign. This is being reported by KMTV. Called Project Winter Shield. FBI launches Operation Winter Shield to protect Americans from growing cybersecurity threats. According to the FBI's Omaha field office, Operation Winter Shield began a few weeks ago. The campaign includes 10 steps you can take to protect yourself online, from setting up multi-factor authentication to retiring old technology. Americans are targeted online by foreign adversaries, including Russia, China, North Korea, and Iran. Again, we are at war, and one of those things is cyber attacks. That is a reality. And I don't know if many of you have seen this, but personally, I've been getting messages about my emails and passwords being leaked in a data leak, and I'm getting a lot of the websites that I use and some of the accounts that I have asking me and prompting me to change my passwords. And I'm kind of curious, just putting it out there, has anybody else received that message? Because there has been infiltration, there has been cyber attacks, data leaks. A lot of our email passwords are out there. So again, talking about the safety and security, about how we communicate as a people, as a community, as as organizers. We got to talk about it. It is a reality, and there are threats coming from all angles.
I was just thinking about the situation with Meta, where a lot of people are going to Instagram and now they're trying to erase their their DMs, and really what's happened is they're not going to put encryption on it anymore. So there's people from the outside that can tap in. That's the change that just happened with Meta as far as your privacy is concerned. They're taking off the ability to do that, which I guess they're trying to find some money and save some money somewhere, since Zuck put $800 billion into the metaverse that he just blew up. I guess they're trying to make it back somewhere. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you have already changed up your style. I know I have. There's to me it's the best thing that I've heard was last night when I was listening to one of the people who are talking about this unplugged whole scene, is use social media and use ones like Snapchat, for instance, to say send over a chat that's going to disappear, send over something that's going to disappear. Hey, meet up with me over here at this such and such a place, such time. Let that message disappear, and then go meet that person in person, and put the phones and the computers in another room and have your conversation that way, because every other way is going to get tracked. Every other way is going to be something that gets you tracked. So
phones in the freezer.
Phones in the freezer. That's what they talking about. Also, in the chat, I'm seeing RG said, well, since y'all are on that tip, my guess is that tech issues wouldn't even be happening if the theme of the show was on some World Star stuff. So all that mess gets broadcast with zero issues. That's what it feels like. Sure.
Zeus Network.
He also says a lot of overseas resources for stateside companies use those YubiKeys. Yeah, YubiKeys are definitely something that we're looking into doing with our stuff, especially the way that we have now probably hundreds of passwords for everything that we got to dig into. But the YubiKey still is that just means Ubicon has access to all your stuff. So if you trust one company, is the difference between trusting one company and all the other companies. So it's interesting that like I said, it's kind of safe. It's safer than just being out here and just sending messages, but it's also something you got to consider If that company has all of your passwords, all of your everything, then what does that mean for that company? How safe are they? You got to kind of keep your eye on that. Anthony Rogers Wright in the chat is saying in the global South, they use Kimbra's method of massive neighborhood organizing more than social media. If you try to organize with what is that?
Social media. No, social media.
Social media too much in Colombia or Africa, they assume you're a cop. Interesting. And Gwen Easter gives us a good morning. Good morning, Gwen Easter. Appreciate you coming through. Yeah, that is. I'm glad. That's what I was waiting on hearing. If there's different people in different places doing different things when it comes to that, I definitely think that we are definitely past that social media situation. We already kind of knew that it was sketchy. I haven't used like Apple Cloud or any of that stuff for a while.
They always getting hacked.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably 6-7 years ago the major hack with all the celebrities happened. From the Apple Cloud. We've been seeing it. We've been hearing about it. It's definitely been happening. So again, have you changed your behavior? I know that we talk about we get our news. We also got to go back to this idea that we talked about a few months back as well about what you're seeing right now, because you should question every single thing that you see on your device because of AI. You should take with a grain of salt anything that you ever see or read because of AI. Because AI has gotten good enough, even if it's a photo, even if it's a video, because it's gotten good enough now to where when instead of just saying fake news, you can show fake news. And so now you have to take with a grain of salt everything. And it is a weird way to look at it. But as soon as I thought to myself, this is all, I'm going to look at it like it's all entertainment. I have a suspension of belief when I'm watching a TV show. I might as well have one for the news now because that's what it is.
You got to.
You got to. Yeah, and we look at people on that we feel like are boots on the ground, and they're reporting back, and I'm definitely holding that more with more weight than something I'll see on a mainstream news channel.
You got to.
Now. Yeah,
you got to. It's just hard to trust. Like for instance, what's happening in Texas. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Again, not going to speculate, but you can't necessarily trust everything that's been reported. I don't know if you heard about this. Explosion at the oil refinery in Texas.
Yeah,
a lot of exploding oil refineries going on in this world.
Right. That's interesting that you bring that one up because a friend of mine that is in this network said that they talked to a person that had to do exactly what we're talking about. Call their people in the area. Did that really happen? And the people came back and said, yeah, it really happened. And then they passed that information along. So, and I find myself doing that a lot too. Like what's actually going out there, what's happening on the street right now. If you get any reports of anything going on the street and you know somebody in town, tell them to go look at it. News gang up, because this is the only way we're going to really do that. If something happens in Atlanta, I'm about this, you see this? And if you did, then I'll believe it. Other than that, I got to be like, this may have happened. Take it with a grain of salt. May have happened. Gwen Easter in the chat is saying, I received a text about account being hacked, but didn't open it because I set up to steal your information. Yeah. That's the other thing too. You're nervous about what you're opening, even if it's something that's supposed to be working for your safety. You're nervous about all those things. So I've been cleaning. I think that what I'm going to do is just start dropping some of the things that I've been doing on each show to kind of iterate the changes that I'm making. I definitely have cleaned off old hard drives and cleaned off my computer onto those hard drives so that if my computer ever gets hacked, I still have my information. I've absolutely been buying physical media again and pulling physical media back out when it comes to those things too. TV shows and things like that are getting jacked. Somebody's already editing up a different world and all the old shows.
Man,
you got to find them, hit Saul's and get them go to DVD section and tear it up.
Man,
I'm thinking. I've also I'm on a regimen of how it is that I use my phone when I'm available for phone calls. Certain things that I'm going to talk to people about phone calls. Definitely one thing that it has a positive thing that's come out of this is I'm definitely having more face-to-face meetings, living alive with one another.
Man,
let's not hesitate. Let's just go have a cup of coffee down at the visitor center, have a conversation about it. Don't worry about the email. I've been using the printer a lot more too. I write something out, print something out. I've been using LibreOffice, which is the equivalent of Microsoft Word, because Microsoft has now told you that now the documents that you put out on Word and Excel are all being shown to the large language model, so they can teach their AI. So there's open source word processing programs out there like LibreOffice. I use that for my Word documents now. Print something off and take it down to the person. Find myself doing that a lot more. So one advantage that I have being Generation X, we did all this before. We just going back to the old school, like an old school, who's so cool.
Back outside. Back outside.
Back outside, bro. We're back outside with typewriters and things. I learned how to type on a typewriter. On a typewriter, not a keyboard.
Hey.
So yeah,
get your words per minute up.
Donnell Sessions gives us a good morning. Good morning to you. Appreciate you. Appreciate you.
Morning.
Man, Tank versus Tyrese. What say what?
Yeah, it's a versus coming. Little music, little love.
Who you got on that? I like Tank on that, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, getting back to it. Appreciate you guys coming through. Let us know. I definitely want to put it out there. Let us know what changes you make because of our communication, social media. What have you done with when it comes to your passwords? Do you do your banking online? Like all these things are things that we have to think about on a regular basis every day because of the changes, who owns them, what's going on, how vulnerable you are to it. Same thing. Anthony Rogers Wright said that's real AF. He says it's in Port Arthur, Texas, a majority black community already suffering from massive health impacts. It's bad news and very scary. There you go.
Yes. I actually know some folks. Speaking of, calling news ganging up, I definitely know some folk from the Port Arthur area, man. Shout out to, UGK alumni, Underground Kings, of course, Bun B, Pimp C from that area. So, definitely have some music friends from that area. Actually, my brother lives in Austin too, so not too far from that area. But I'm just, was not necessarily questioning whether or not it was real, or I'm more so questioning, what's behind it. We are at war. We are at war. So.
True too, but hey, for those of us that don't have connections down there, I had to wonder if it was real. If it was real news.
It's understandable.
Straight up. So what we're doing, what I'm seeing is that what we're doing is now more important than ever because where you're at, who you talk to in your neighborhood, what's going on is going to be super, super important in the radius that you live, so that you can report on it, so that you can be the person that does call. Like I said, there's some unintentional consequences that are happening here, even in a good way, where I have been on the phone with so many more people around the country, even that I have, we've been talking to each other a whole lot more because you got to keep these connections in the places that you're at. Shout out to Anthony Rogers Wright, who's always cloud hopping somewhere and keeping connections here and abroad. It's going to be very important to show face and have a conversation, point blank, period.
Man. Oh,
dang. Going off. Judy Prince says, good program today. I heard a lot of positive. Appreciate that, Judy Prince.
Thank you.
Yeah. Feeling like that. We got to try to keep that up. There's tons of negative everywhere all the time. Let's try to keep that up for sure. So with that said, I'm definitely thinking about Chad Chimer's kickback coming up in the summertime.
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking about Content Creators Camp, which is where we get together physically and learn about these things too. I'll definitely be pushing that. During Content Creator Camp, I'm definitely going to have to say we got to get a section together on how we communicate with each other face to face, and how we have to adjust around social media and even emails now. Even emails, they're saying emails are not safe either. So it's not safe in the form of they can be intercepted, they can be deciphered, and your information you can get your information, and your information can be out there with other people. So it's just what it is. We got to keep that in mind. So keep that in mind. If you have any suggestions on how you have put a protocol together for yourself on those things, on your own privacy and safety, put it in Friends of First Sky Omaha, the group page. Let us know. Send it to Gmail right now. Like I said, firstskyOmaha@gmail.com. You can send us an email. We'll use it while it works.
Man, there you go. But definitely, kind of wrapping it up with the idea of it's not just about the communication, but just how do we come together as a community? How do we come together, as a people, as a neighborhood, as neighbors, and we didn't really have time to get into it. Maybe get into it at a later episode, talking about a question you posed on social media as far as the black ICE agents going on. But as we talk about this, I can't help but to think, the other side of things, as far as there has been neighbors calling ICE agents on their neighbors. You know what I mean? Like there's been that activity as far as people not being so neighborly. So let's, reverse the curse. Let's combat it and come together and really check on our neighbors for good. Make sure our neighbors are taken care of, and make sure our neighbors have what they need, man. Shout out to Big Sherm. Speaking of all that, typing in, talk about news gang. We didn't really get into it much today's episode either, but definitely want to reiterate and echo what Brother Sherman Wells was talking about on his sermons with Sherman. Yeah, bringing it back, man. Catching up with the people, man. Of course, you got to take care of yourself, but
man.
all we got. That's enough.
Go check it out. YouTube, Facebook. He was broadcasting live on TikTok too. I'm not sure how TikTok saves those lives, but go check it out wherever you look at stuff. Definitely go back and check that episode out. Catch up with Brother Sherm for real. Appreciate that. I was also thinking of, speaking of neighbors, I know that y'all have been talking about the Trump barn. Every time you drive out towards Ashland, you see that barn with the Trump on it, and people were like, the Trump sign is down. Maybe some things have changed. Nah. They went over there and asked the dude. He was like, nah. The wind knocked it down. So okay.
We'll put it back up.
Still Trump barn.
Yeah, still Trump barn.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, as you can see, there's messages on here that say that all day long, really, without saying the name Trump. So there you go. Right on. But hey, man, neighbors, we pass by that barn all the time. This is where we live. We got to remember where we live, bro.
Hey.
So shout out to Sherman Wells on that, bro. He was just like, hey, listen, I'm gonna limit who it is I deal with, who it is I talk to. We're gonna be here for our people, and that's gonna be what it is, and that's what it is. So appreciate the work you're doing. Appreciate Kimara Snipes for coming on the show as well, and the work that she's doing. Really, man, more than ever, this is gonna be about the area that you in, the neighborhood that you in, the conversations you having with those neighbors, the relationship you have with them, representing that area. It's gonna be more important than ever.
There you go, man. So I guess, is that it?
I think so, man. I do want to give a shout out to the mayor who's put a couple of surveys out. And I put my thing away before I did that. So let me grab these surveys real quick for you to go check out. Definitely check it out. Yeah, the mayor survey. He posted this one was one that was up the other day. This is the We Make Omaha survey. This is an interesting one as well. Definitely check that out. But this flyer is about a poll the vote survey. So definitely do this one as well. We need to talk about what's going on around here a little bit. Here's a link to that one. You're invited. Poll the vote. State of the city. This is the state of the city poll. So he had his state of the city address the other day, and he put some questions out there, and this is the poll for that. It's an independent, nonpartisan platform created by Omaha residents. Poll the vote. So definitely check that out. State of the City Omaha survey. Shout out to Mayor Ewing for the work that he's been doing. He's kind of killing the game, and get ready for the monthly meetup with the mayor that's happening here shortly as well. I believe it might be Monday. We're trying to confirm that, so stay tuned for that as well. And we have a special guest coming on Friday that you'll see some material for here pretty soon as well this week. An author that we're going to have from out of town. We'll talk to her on that Love Supreme Friday, and that's what's coming up. That's what's coming up. Yeah. Want to put that question out there, buddy? You said, what's up with all the people of color ICE agents out here? What's that? What's happening? Let's talk about it.
Getting that check.
What's crazy to me was when the Mexican brothers is out here putting other Mexican brothers in detention. That was what caught my attention first, and then every time they show a picture now, they're showing a lot of black folks working for ICE. What's really going on? What's really going on?
Every plantation had a Samuel Jackson. I'm just saying.
RG said that barn shake my head. When I still lived in Lincoln and drove up here for work, I had to see that big Trump banner on the way home every morning at 7-ish. Early to see that bull. Heard that. Tony Johnson said I sent an email to KFAB for Gene Stoller not so nice comments about Raquel Henderson on show yesterday. What?
She has something to say about the job in Easton.
She don't want the smoke. She don't want the smoke.
Man,
Streetcar Sally better settle down. She does not want that smoke. For real, for real. RG said they saw that 50,000 K sign on bonus and was on the TV recruiting ads. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
minimal training,
Walking
collecting
around.
that check.
We'll talk about it and more coming up Friday show. Stay tuned.
Right. Man, big shout out to all of you for tuning in. We appreciate you. We love you. We thank you. Of course, as Brother Paul just said, big shout out to Sister Kimara taking the time, man, despite the tech difficulties. Thank you for joining us from the headquarters. Letting us know, man, she actually got a chance to pop it though. Like I said, again, One Omaha definitely pretty busy. Look out for that needs assessment coming out, as she said, in April. So that's right around the corner. But yeah, let's participate. Let's get busy and let's really address the needs in our community, because that's what it's all about. If not, then what we doing? What we doing? Speaking of needs, before we get out of here, I did want to recognize Brother Chrome Lewis and Code Z, doing it for the babies, man, doing it for the graduates at a time when they're transitioning into the next chapter of life. He says in a Facebook post you can find on Friends of, he says, if anyone knows a kid who has worked really hard to graduate through extreme circumstances such as a death of a parent, messed up home environment, and or lack of parental support, a kid who's climbed the obstacles, struggled and still kept pushing to the finish line, or maybe has nobody to attend their graduation, may have experienced direct life trauma, teen pregnancy, etc. Through Code Z Outreach, myself and Chris L. Bolden are offering support consisting of the following: help with the purchase of cap and gown or a graduation outfit. Maybe, get you a nice suit on graduation or dress. Also planning and help with a graduation celebration, attendance of graduation ceremony to support. And if they're attending college, we will get items needed for their dorm or assist with small fees associated, which is huge. It's huge. If anybody who has gone to college, it's something as simple as not being able to pay for your books can stop you from, again, getting that next level in life. So again, big shout out to Brother Chrome Lewis, always doing it for the babies, man. Throwing parties, making sure that they have what they need, just simply showing up for the next generation, which can go a long way. So if you have any, interest in assisting with this, definitely reach out to Code Z. You can also reach out to Brother Chrome Lewis if you're on friends with him on social media. And check it out. Excuse me. Check it out on Friends of First Guy. Big shout out to Marlon Harrison for sharing that. So
absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Shout out to all the Boots to the Roots people.
Hey, that's what it's about. Boots to the roots, man. So yeah, I want to highlight that before we get out of here. But with that, it's the end of the show, man. So we're about 7 minutes past this thing. We appreciate you. We love you. We thank you. As I've said, catch the same time, same place, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here on First Guy Omaha in the morning, Paul.
In the morning.
Hey, there you go.
Wait. I got to do the low one for RG that I did last. In the morning. He liked that.
Hey,
there you go.
Okay. Lower register. I feel it. But yeah, man, check us out on Friday. Of course, the weekly wrap is still coming. We're, figuring out other ways to communicate with you and touch the people. But in the meantime, between time, you can catch us there. Weekly wrap coming directly to your email. If you haven't signed up, please go ahead and do that. And as always, check us out, firstguyomaha.com. With that, Paul B.
Yo.
Take it away, man.
Shout out to the Omaha tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Shout out to our elders allowing us to speak before you. And shout out to you, the chat chimers, allowing us to speak with you. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks for the great questions and comments for Kimara and the respect for her. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We still don't know what's going on there, but we're going to do what we do. He said, Barry Light. That's cold. We appreciate you guys being a part of this. Also, shout out to the people who are members of the channel as well. The $10 people, the $25 people, the $50 people. Really appreciate you. We're working on trying to get some things together over the summer for the members. So shout out to you for that. And if you're not a member yet and you want to support us, please do that by going to firstguyomaha.com and hit the join button. And become a member or a sponsor of the channel. You can also hit us up at firstguyomaha@gmail.com. If you have needs for advertising, we also do advertising, and we have a rate sheet that we can send you as well for your events and for anything else that you think is important that needs to get a word out and a conversation about, which is what we can do here on First Guy Omaha in the morning. So we appreciate you guys joining us and being a part of this whole situation, and we will see you on Friday. Special guest. Stay tuned. Peace, peace, peace.
Y'all cruising to go see Smokey?
By the way, Van Glorious. This is protected by the Red